Shalom. Koholoyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Yeah, so I was scrolling online and through different social media apps, just trying to see what's going on in terms of different global news and just anything concerning prophecies. And nothing really stuck out to me. There's some so-called deal in the works right now concerning Iran, Israel, U.S., and they're supposed to be signing this Friday. We'll see what happens. But I wanted to take that opportunity, to just dive into James 1 verse 12, really the first phrase, and I'm going to read it in the NLT. And kind of like a character building video, also just a video to hopefully allow you and myself to continue in the faith, an exhortation video. And I got the title from James 1 verse 12 in the NLT, and this is what it says: God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. Afterward, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. And so remember, being in this ministry, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden you know the Lord and now your life is looking up. No, you got to read Sirach chapter 2. It talks about enduring temptation, enduring suffering. And this is how the Lord treats those who he's calling back to be sons. And this is how he allows us to learn, how he allows us to know more about him and what his will is. And it's also how we become like Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai had to endure suffering. He had to endure being blamed when he was actually blameless. And a lot of us, we go through the same exact things. Of course, the servant is not above the master. And so right now, especially at the end, a lot of us are being put through different trials and tribulations, but it's all for the purpose of just building us up and getting off any dross that may be on it, so that we may be able to stand in the end with full confidence and faith, knowing that the Lord has been dealing with us. That's what this is all about. And so once again, it says, God blesses those who patiently endure testing and temptation. You may not know exactly why certain things are happening. It may seem random. You may think that you're doing your best, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, but if the Most High allows Satan to get at you, Satan is going to find a way. He's going to find a way, and you got to believe that the Lord is just testing you, and he wants you to grow. He wants you to grow. He wants you to call out on him, and he's seeing if you're going to remain faithful. Ultimately, if you're a part of the elect, then you will. But you have to have that mindset. And that's why the scriptures say to put on as the elect. You got to tell yourself, I do have faith. I believe in the Lord. I'm going to keep believing on him. I'm going to endure, right? And you say these things humbly to yourself, but you ask the Lord openly for those characteristics to be able to do so. Verse 13, it says, and remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong and never tempts anyone else. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. What it's referring to is potentially being dragged away from this ministry by external desires, different carnal lusts, things that your flesh wants to do or wants to happen, right? But sometimes Satan will put these things in your way, and the Most High allows that to happen just so that you can overcome that hurdle and you can grow stronger, and now you can learn whatever spiritual characteristics or attributes that the Lord wanted you to acquire from that trial. So it's not as if God is putting it in your way to make you go off. No, He wants you to learn from it and to grow. And now you can take that experience and you can apply that, hopefully, in the time of Jacob's trouble, or even right now. You're able to talk about that experience and what you've learned in a more intelligent way out on the streets, maybe in a video, or to a brother that may be going through something very similar. And you can now expound upon what you went through on a deeper level and help out somebody else, another member of the hopeful elect. So you have to always consider why certain things are happening. You can't have the mindset that, God he's not dealing with me, or the Most High is trying to trip me up, or why is this happening? And you get into that complaining mode. You can't be in that complaining mindset. You have to have a winner's mentality. How can I learn from this? What's going on? How does God want me to change? What is it that I need to examine within myself, right? That's got to be your mindset, especially as we're coming into the time of Jacob's trouble. Like the scriptures say, you can't let your sins weigh you down. No matter what's going on, you got to always remain faithful to the Lord. And this is the book of Hebrews 11 and verse 6. Yeah, why not? We'll read this in the NLT as well. And it is impossible to please God without faith. Anyone who wants to come to him must believe that God exists and that he rewards those who sincerely seek him. So you'll be rewarded of God if you're sincerely seeking him and if you're patiently enduring any trial or temptation that you may be faced with. So that's the criteria right there. Patiently endure that trial, call out on his name, right? And then sincerely seek him in the midst of it. If you're doing those things, that means you're of the right mindset and he's going to reward you with whatever you're going through, whether if it be something physically, if it be something financially, and above all else, spiritually. No matter what, even if it is something physically like job, money, car, clothes, a new place to live, whatever it may be, every single time you overcome a trial, and whether you do get something physically that he rewards you with, above all else, you're going to come out with that trial with new spiritual characteristics. You're going to learn something spiritually first. There's always a spiritual lesson to be had in any trial that you go through, even if it does seem like it's something carnal or physical. I'll say not carnal, something physical, such as getting a new job, as an example, or your car just got messed up in an accident. You don't have the money for it. You pray to the Lord, you seek him, and he somehow helps you out. Sure, your car got fixed, but there's a spiritual aspect to what you learned from calling out on the Lord as well. And those are the main things that we should be worried about. Pleasing the Lord, doing his will, sincerely seeking him, and patiently enduring any trials. And in the midst of all that, you still got to make your videos. You should be fasting, of course, if that's according to your spirit or whatever you're going through, praying without ceasing. You can't switch up. You can't be a double-minded individual. What else did I want? Second Ezra's right. 9 and verse 7, just right to the point. And now we're bringing this fully home to where we are now at the very end, when things are about to be flipped upside down. Jacob's trouble is around the corner, and now we're taking advantage and utilizing all those spiritual gifts that we acquired from these different trials. So 2 Ezra 9 verse 7 says, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape, meaning protected and be delivered, right? And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So this is all about having faith, and of course, you show your faith by your works. Like I mentioned before, you're out there on the streets, you're offering your body as a living sacrifice, you're making your videos, you're sending up prayers for the elect. If you got to lead a class, you lead class. If a brother asks you or tells you to do something, you're doing it sincerely, taking good care of the flock, so on and so forth. All these different works that you're showing because you have faith, it's all going to pay off on top of any trials and tribulations that you patiently suffered and the Lord got you through. All those characteristics that you gained from those trials are all going to play a part in you enduring until the end. When the rest of the world is in utter confusion, not knowing what to do and wondering why things are happening, you're going to be able to draw from your experiences and the spiritual gifts that you acquired to make you to be able to stand when everybody else has faint knees. And that's what this whole thing is about. The Lord building us up just for the purpose of being able to remain faithful to him when he returns, up until he returns. That's what this is all about. Gaining those spiritual gifts to never, ever, ever renounce this faith and to be able to stand when Yahushua returns. So always keep that end goal in mind when you're going through these different trials and tribulations. The end goal being in mind will allow you to endure. And I'll end off with one last precept. Revelation, is it 3? Yeah. I'm gonna actually read this in the King James because it uses that word temptation. In the NLT it says testing, but I want to harp on that word temptation. So Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, meaning because you have suffered for the Lord's sake, and you continued in his ministry without wavering. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And that's when that microchip, the mark of the beast, is really pushed and made mandatory, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So that's point blank, period. If you keep doing the Lord's work, he's going to keep you safe during Jacob's trouble and protect you from this hour of temptation when the chip is really pushed. And that's what we need. So always keep the end goal in mind and keep your eyes on prophecy. Lord willing, this is edifying, or was edifying to the elect, Kol Haloyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakudash. Shalom.